Hi, it's Kai, and today we are going to be doing yet another Talking My Trash video. I know I feel like this is one of my most filmed videos and the most consistent on this page, but honestly, this is the first time I'm even wearing makeup in over a month at this point. I've had a lot going on in my life, and I know I constantly use that as an excuse or explanation, whichever you want to choose it to be, for why I haven't been filming, but I've had a lot going on in my life. I will probably film a chatty get ready with me to talk about all of that instead of getting into it at all in this video, because honestly a lot of people don't really care. I'm gonna be so completely honest. People all the time say how they don't really care about like external stuff outside of what the video is supposed to be about. So either way, I have accumulated my bag of empties. It's completely full again. I honestly have a good bit of both lifestyle as well as beauty things in here. I also have been doing my decluttering series of decluttering my entire makeup collection. So I have some of the items in here from those videos. So if you want to go check those out, I'll leave a card with the series. What do you call it? Oh, I don't have any earrings on. We're gonna just have to be okay with me not having any earrings on today. But anyway, without further ado, because this is always one of my longest videos, both to film, edit, and just ends up being a really long video in general, we're gonna go ahead and get into everything that I have in my empties for the last few months. It's been, I think, like 2 months since I have filmed one. Okie dokie. As always, the first things we have are actually outside of my bag because they are too large to fit in the bag, and they are my lifestyle slash laundry. I know I talk about laundry items all the time, but as I've said before, clean clothes to me preclude having a like good smelling body. Like you gotta have clean clothes, a clean body, and then you layer all of your body butters and smell good stuff on top of it. So one way to ensure that you have clean clothes is to use something like a laundry booster. And I've talked about OxiClean before. This is just the large, super large size of the OxiClean odor blasters. It has like a nice light, crisp, fresh scent to it, and it helps with boosting my laundry detergent so that it gets all of the body odor and stains and stuff like that out. But specifically for me, I'm concerned about body odor because my job currently does involve me being outside most of the day, and I'm also just generally a really active person. I'm constantly roller skating and such, so I'm sweating a lot. And even right now, again, not to get into the life stuff, but my AC in my apartment is messed up. I have mold in my apartment, and they have industrial size dehumidifiers in my apartment that are putting off so much heat that my air conditioning has been going for about 14 hours now, and I still have, like, it's still 78 degrees in here. So I am sweating constantly, especially right now, and OxiClean I do find helps with getting that sweat, stink, whatever it is out of my clothes and just reset them to smelling good, even if I don't use scent boosters and other scented laundry products. I have been trying another laundry booster though that I think, although it doesn't have as much of a scent to it, it just kind of smells like nothing. I do feel like it works maybe a smidge better than OxiClean does, so that'll be in a later empties video. But I do really like OxiClean, definitely think that it's good, definitely think that it serves its purpose. I just, again, like trying out new things. But again, if you're a sweaty, stinky person like myself, you're trying to get some stench, even just putting this with like a, what is that called, with some of your smellier clothes outside of the laundry, or doing a soak with this helps tremendously. I also like using it for like my roller skating pads because, again, I'm a sweaty girl and your roller skating gear gets so smelly really quickly. Another thing that is helpful for smells as well as my roller skating gear, you can use this in laundry, and again, I've talked about this numerous times before, Audubon. This is their disinfectant, laundry and air freshener, but you can use it obviously pretty much anywhere in your house. I use it in laundry. I use it to mop my floors. I use it to clean my bathroom because it is a disinfectant as well. And this big gallon bottle is usually about $10 from wherever you can find it. I found it at Home Depot, Walmart, Dollar Tree, or even, yeah, sometimes Dollar Tree and Dollar General as well. This is the fresh linen scent. I pretty much rotate the different scents based on what time of year it is. I like this scent for the spring and summertime because it's really light, airy, and aldehydic, and it just smells like clean laundry. Like I said, I've talked about this in pretty much every empties video, I'm pretty sure, and I have another jug that is currently about halfway empty, so you'll definitely be seeing another one of these jugs when I am ready to film another empties video. Okie dokie, moving on to what I have in my bag. I'm still gonna try to keep it to the laundry and lifestyle items first, and then go into like the health and beauty and everything outside of that. Another thing that I've talked about in pretty much every single empties video that I've filmed in the last year, or at least half a year, the Downy Unstoppables laundry scent boosters. This is my personal favorite scent of them. It's the Daybreak and Clean scent, and part of the reason that I like it is because it does just smell fresh and clean. It kind of smells like the Tide Sport laundry detergent, and that was like my favorite type of Tide, or favorite scent of Tide, honestly. But I also like these scent boosters because a little goes a long way. I don't even have to use a full cap of this. I can use like a quarter of a cap of these scent boosters and still smell them on my clothes or my bedding, sheets and stuff. I have started using scent boosters mainly for bedding and sheets and things of that nature, just because I've kind of wanted my laundry to have like a blank slate instead of it smelling overwhelmingly like laundry or like something really thick, like a thick scent. This is definitely, like I said, very fragrant, so it does last really nicely and smell pretty, like you have projection with this, which I feel like a lot of scent boosters you can mostly smell them really up close, but this is one where sometimes my clothes do smell like I have a little bit of perfume on. But because I like to switch around my perfume and I don't always want to wear fresh laundry scents, I've actually been using, again, this mainly for my bedding and washing my couch. What do you call it? It's like the covers for my couch and stuff like that, versus on my actual laundry. So using it that way, it does last a lot longer, but I always will love these. The only thing I don't love is that I think Downy knows, and like the stores know, how popular this scent is, that it's nice and fresh and clean, and that it's a very popular scent of their scent beads, because in my local stores, this one is always more expensive, even more expensive than the other Downy Unstoppables Fusions, and I don't really like that, and it has deterred me from repurchasing this scent specifically, because it's like, especially in the larger jugs, this one, again, at my local store is about $20, which is really expensive. I remember when scent beads used to be around the larger size of them, not these size. This size itself was, I think, $7, but I got it on sale for $3 because they were doing half off promotions. But for the jumbo size of the scent beads, they used to be like $10 to $14 depending on where you purchase them from. And like I said, this specific scent of it at all of my local stores is $20, but even the other Unstoppables Fusion, like this version of the Unstoppables, but just in different scents, because I know they have the different lines and everything, but this version in different scents will still be closer to $16 or $17. And like I said, I feel like that is, I'm not really understanding that personally. So like I said, it has dissuaded me from repurchasing this scent, and I decided to try another scent that is a little bit less expensive. And hopefully, I don't know if any of the companies ever actually watch these videos or gather feedback from empties videos and such, but I would hope that they would start listening to consumers when we say, and of course, scent beads are not necessary. They're definitely an extra to your laundry, but it's a nice thing to have, and I do feel as though we deserve nice things to have in the current economy, in the current world. And again, it just feels a little bit like Downy specifically, or P&G rather, is trying to capitalize on the fact that they know people like this scent because it's such a fresh, clean scent. So anyway, gonna get off my soapbox. I love this scent. When it's on sale or I have coupons, definitely will repurchase it then. But as far as repurchasing it at the regular full price, when the other similar items are priced lower, with the way that corporations are just greedy at this point, it definitely, like I said, deters me from wanting to reward them for that greediness. Speaking of scent boosters, I also finished some of the Arm & Hammer Odor Blasters scent boosters. I've talked about this before because I have also tried, well, this isn't the same scent that I have. I've tried the Fresh Burst scent of the, what is this, the Deep Rinse and Revitalize fabric rinse, and I really enjoy that. So I had purchased the Fresh Burst scent booster to go along with that and double up on the scent. And I do like this scent. I feel like the, what do you call it, the fabric rinse is maybe a little bit more clean, musky smelling, and this, the scent boosters, has a little bit more of a floral-ish smell, like more, it's still clean and fresh, but again, there's some more florals pulling through this than what does in the fabric rinse. But my biggest issue with the Arm & Hammer scent boosters in particular is that I don't feel like it lasts quite as well on the clothes. Once I run it through the dryer, I can feel like I barely smell it, and that was improved when I used both this and the fabric rinse together. But at the same time, if I'm going to use a scent booster, I do want to be able to smell it on my clothes, especially through the dryer. So again, not my favorite. It is the more cost-effective option, but at what cost if it's not actually giving me the full effect that I want from my laundry. Then I got the other scent. This is the Fresh Escape scent of the Deep Rinse and Revitalize fabric rinse. And honestly, wasn't the super biggest fan. I bought this because the other one, the Fresh Burst, was not available. It was out of stock at my local stores. I had a coupon, so I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and get this one and try out the scent. This one is very floral, and it doesn't necessarily smell bad, but it just kind of smells a little like a generic floral, and I just like things, I think, that smell a little bit more fresh, clean, laundry-like versus super floral. So it works pretty much the same. It does impart some scent on the clothing, especially in combination with scent beads. I actually think these worked pretty nicely together because I did smell a little bit more of the floralness in this particular version, or like the scent boosters of the Fresh Burst, but I definitely think I enjoy the Fresh Burst scent of the fabric rinse better than this one, so I would probably opt for that one in the future if I don't just use Audubon. And that's honestly what I've been doing, is just using Audubon as my fabric rinse instead of purchasing a separate fabric rinse. Like, I have one more that I purchased because I wanted to try out the scent of it, but otherwise, I mean, I've had it for months because there's still this much left since I've just been opting for the Audubon. And then we have my laundry detergent of choice. This is the Ariel 2x power or double power laundry detergent. I like powder laundry detergent because, let's be honest, it lasts a lot longer than the liquid. Laundry experts also say that the Ariel powder detergent is a very high-powered detergent, and again, as a sweaty, stinky girl, I do like to have my detergents be supercharged. And like I said, it's simply that Ariel powder lasts a really long time. Like, this bag, I think I purchased when I first moved into this apartment about 7, almost 8 months ago, and I just finished it maybe a couple of weeks ago. So being able to not repurchase your laundry detergent every month, plus it's already inexpensive compared to a lot of other laundry detergents, but for the amount that you get, not having to buy laundry detergent every 2 or 3 months and instead every 6 months, like, it basically doubles or stretches your budget even longer for laundry detergent. So I am a believer of this. My clothes come out smelling clean, have all of the stains and pit smells and all of that stuff coming out of them. So I am a true believer in the Ariel powdered detergent. And again, I've already repurchased this. Another item to help my apartment smell a little bit better as someone who is a cat mom. I've talked about this before, the Arm & Hammer Double Duty Litter Deodorizer. I just like to put a layer of this at the bottom of the litter boxes before or as I'm switching it out, and then sprinkle a little bit of this as it's being used. And I feel like this, combined with the pine litter that I use, helps my apartment at least smell just like pine or kind of woody, and then a little bit of freshness. It definitely keeps all of those pee and poop. Well, sometimes the poop smells, especially after they just immediately pooped. There's nothing you can really do about that as a cat parent, but at least the, again, pee smells, the ammonium, all of that, this helps keep that down in between full litter box changes. So again, I have a bunch of these. I have another one literally sitting within eyesight of me, and I just have these on my Chewy auto shipment. Okie dokie. And moving on into the kind of beauty related health items, the first thing I have here is the TheraBreath anti-cavity oral rinse. I am trying to do a lot better with taking care of my dental health and flossing more often and all of that jazz. I also do have some like chipped teeth, like both of my front teeth now are chipped. So I am trying to make sure that I fortify them as much as possible. And this says that it helps strengthen teeth and enamel. And I do feel like it has cut down on some of the tooth sensitivity that I've experienced specifically with these two chipped teeth. It just has a nice, fresh, minty kind of taste to it. I do feel like it says non-burning on here. I do feel like I feel a little bit of maybe not an intense like alcoholic burn to it, but I wouldn't say that it doesn't make my mouth feel something, a little tingly, you know, just a little something. So I do like it. I think it works well, and I've repurchased it, but not in this specific flavor or the anti-cavity one. I just have the one for, I don't know, the one that's in the blue packaging, because this one was, of course, out of stock. I feel like things, when I run out of them, and I'm trying to be better about not buying in bulk or buying backups of things and only keeping what I currently need on hand and letting it completely run out, because there is like an abundance of things. I don't need to keep stock of items, you know, but then there also does run into the issue that when I run out of it and it's not in stock at the store, it's just like, okay, now I have to move on to something that is similar but not really exactly what I want. So it's just such a catch-22. I feel as though it happens every single time. Like I said, it happened with this. It happens literally all the time, and it's really hard to fight the mindset of I don't need to buy backups. I don't need to constantly anticipate running out of things and them not being available just for that to genuinely actually happen. Next, we've got these caplets of L-lysine. And why am I talking about this? Because herpes, more than anything, like I have always maintained on here, herpes is more of a skin condition than it is a STI or anything else, in my personal opinion. So I take L-lysine every time I feel a little bit of a tingle, when I'm just like, oh, I feel like I'm about to have an outbreak or my body might be trying to have one. I take some L-lysine and it helps with calming that tingle down. Usually the outbreak won't come to be a fully formed outbreak, but if it does, or if I ignore the tingle and I'm just like, oh, it'll go away, it's not going to do anything, and it does turn into an outbreak, which is only like once a year at this point that I get them, this does help with ushering the outbreak, like the actual, I guess, what do you call it? How do I say, like the skin condition part of it out of my system, and helps it stop outbreaking. Mine almost are like more, I can't even say they're like these smoldering, blistering, what do you call it? Mine kind of just look like pimples as far as outbreaks are concerned. And again, I like talking about herpes. I like talking about what I use for my herpes outbreaks and normalizing it, because it is normal. Most people have it, and most people are just really ignorant about it. This is the CVS brand. I honestly just get whatever brand is buy one, get one free, or buy one, get one half off, or has a sale going. So right now I have like the Nature's Bounty ones. Most of these are probably all made in the same factory. So if you're a person who has herpes and you have herpes outbreaks and you're trying to minimize them, or even if you don't constantly get outbreaks but you just want to minimize the chance of them happening, whether they are on your lips, on your face, your lips down below, or whatever you have going on down below, or on your skin, because my favorite fun fact for everyone is that herpes does not just attack the lips or the genitals. I actually get outbreaks underneath my armpit. So if you're a person, again, who has outbreaks, L-lysine, definitely put it in your regimen. You don't have to take it every day, but if you just feel a little tingle or feel like a little bump going on, you can pop some of that. I take it like 3 times a day if I have an active outbreak, but if I just feel kind of a tingle, I'll just do like once daily until I see whether the tingle goes away or if it's trying to, like I said, burst its way into a full outbreak, and then I'll ramp up to the 3 times a day. Then I've got some hair dye products because I went to dye my eyebrows. I had bleached eyebrows for a majority of last year, and I was feeling like wanting to do that again. I was like, I need to change up the way that I look. I feel like a caged animal right now. And so I pulled out my developer, and I have since cleaned this out, obviously, so that I can throw it away. But I pulled out my developer, put it on, put the foils on and everything, and it did nothing. So I was just like, you know what? I have had this one for a few years. It's probably, you know, not as effective anymore because it's old. So this is the one and only Argan Oil Hair Color Cream Developer. I get 20 volume and then just do multiple layers because sometimes the 30 volume developer just burns my skin and irritates my skin a little bit more. So while I always get irritation when I dye my hair or my brows, it's just the way that my skin works. I do feel like doing multiple layers of 20 volume developer is better as far as that goes. I also do like that I don't feel like I experience as much damage to my hair as I have with other hair dye products with this particular line. I also had some of their actual hair dye. This is their permanent cream color, and this was the dark sand blonde shade, which, if I'm being completely honest, like you see the swatch, it's a really not that blonde shade. I actually used to mix this in with the red shades of the hair dye that I had, particularly because I wanted it to be like almost a strawberry blonde moment versus a really like red hair moment. And instead of buying a whole bunch of other colors or buying a whole new box of dye, I was just like, how can I use up what I have? But then I stopped dyeing my hair, and of course at the time that I wanted to start dyeing my hair actual colors and bleaching it blonde again, or at least like a dirty blonde, I opened this up, and along with the fact that my hair developer was not really working, I had some other developer, I opened this up and like the tube was definitely corroded. So I was like, you know what, it's time to get rid of this. Again, I do feel like if you're looking for an actual dirty blonde or dark sand blonde color, that this isn't it. It definitely is more of a brown, but you can mix it in to get your desired impact if you need to. And like I said, I feel like this particular line of hair dye and developer and stuff definitely helps my hair personally with not getting quite as damaged when I do decide to bleach it. So I definitely will repurchase these products. I'm just trying to use some of the ones that I have and slowly but surely declutter the hordes of hair dye and hair products that I have from constantly switching up my look. This isn't technically an empty, but I am having to throw it out because it just didn't work for me. I got it sent through Influencer. It is the Luna Daily All Over Deodorant in the Hydrating Fresh Cotton scent. It's aluminum free, and it is more of like a gel, which I thought I would enjoy because, you know, the gels will leave a little bit less residue behind on your underarms, even though I don't care that much about having underarm residue or deodorant residue on my underarms, because I'd rather have that residue and not smell funky than to have a deodorant that doesn't leave residue and still smell funky. However, it just did not work for me because some natural deodorants, and I think I've started narrowing down which of the natural deodorant like formulations, which of the ingredients are giving me an irritation or make me more prone to having irritation under my arms. But this, within a few days of using it, definitely gave me the irritation that I know means this isn't going to be the deodorant for me. It does smell okay. I wouldn't say that I was expecting it to smell like this with the connotation of fresh cotton. I do feel like it smells very soapy. It smells to me almost like, you know, the Palmolive Oxy, what is that called? Dish detergent. that's what it smells like to me. It smells like soap bubbles, that type of thing. So again, unfortunately, did not work for me. I'm going to be moving this along out of my collection. And unfortunately with deodorant, especially given that I do have outbreaks underneath my arm, or herpes outbreaks underneath my arm, I don't like passing those products along to someone else, because it's just like, even though the chance of spreading herpes to someone else without direct skin contact is basically non-existent, it still is just, maybe the OCD in me is just like, I would rather not. So unfortunately, gonna have to just throw this out. Hate throwing out basically a completely full deodorant, but it just didn't work for me. And if you get irritation in your underarms from certain natural deodorants, this one might give you some irritation. A deodorant that does not give me irritation underneath my arms but still is effective for me is the Way Melrose Place deodorant. And Melrose Place in general, it got stuck in the cap because I'd be digging down in here. I'll even dig into this and just slather it with my hands on my underarms because I like this deodorant so much. But as I was saying, Melrose Place in general is one of my favorite scents. It is just one of those fresh, rosy, clean, almost powdery floral scents, but I don't feel like it leans too vintage rose or vintage floral smelling. There's definitely something that's just fresh and clean about this. So again, I do absolutely adore this. But I am a person who, if I use a deodorant too much, or like back to back to back, buy the same deodorant over and over again, I do end up almost developing a tolerance to it. And so I have purchased this twice and been using it back to back twice, and that's usually about the time where my body says, hey, let's try something different because this deodorant is about to just stop working for you, even though it was working just fine. So I did switch off to something else that, again, once I finish that up, it'll be in an empties video. And while I like what I did try, or what I'm currently trying, I do see myself going back to this once I've allowed my body a little bit of time to not get used to it. You know what I'm saying? I just love the smell of this. Again, it is probably my favorite deodorant of all time now, and it's not an inexpensive deodorant. So the fact that I've been willing to not just try it to splurge, but say like I would actually like to repurchase this, it would be my sole deodorant if my body didn't like to betray me in the way that it does. And I didn't even realize that it's been so long since I've done an empties video that I actually emptied 2 of these. So each one lasts me about 2 months. Has it really been that long since I've filmed one? I must have finished one of them up immediately after my last empties video. I don't know, maybe because I did not edit that last empties video except for like a month after actually filming it. And then, but either way, I have 2 of them. So these are the 2, again, that I purchased. Really enjoy these. Definitely will repurchase them once my body is a little bit less used to the scent of them, or potentially even just trying out a different scent. I think they have like 4 of the scents of the deodorants, so maybe just switching to another scent will help my body. Anyway, moving on to the precursor to putting on deodorant, which is washing your body. I have the EOS Shea Butter Cashmere Body Wash in the Vanilla Cashmere scent. They so graciously sent me their entire line of these when they first launched, and that should tell you anything, or everything rather, about this. I have been using this, not this specific scent, but using the EOS body washes since they launched. And I've gone through, I want to say 2 of them. I want to say I had one of them in a empties video sometime last year, or did I just have other body washes? I can't remember. Either way, I decided when I finished up my body wash around the winter time to put this in. And like I said, I don't even remember what my previous body wash was. Was it pink champagne? Maybe it was the pink champagne version of this that I was using. I think it was, but I would have used that in like the spring and summertime, and I put this in closer to the winter time. And like I said, I can't even remember exactly when I switched out my body wash because these last so long. A little goes a long way. They lather up really well, and I also like that they don't strip my body. Like, they make me feel clean without my skin feeling dry. There have been nights where I just didn't feel like showering showering and going through the whole rigmarole of a body care routine. And so I would just, again, go in, shower with this and not put on any lotion. And my skin didn't feel like it was trying to drink the humidity in my apartment, you know what I'm saying, since I have a lot of that going on. Even in the winter time, I was able to, again, do that whole, I don't feel like really doing my whole body routine, and I didn't feel, wow, my air conditioning actually went off. I don't think it cooled down my apartment at all. But anyway, as I was saying, I can use this, wash my body and not lotion it and not end up feeling as dry as the Sahara Desert. So I do feel like while it gets me clean, it also helps with the skin not feeling too dried and stripped. I have another scent of this. What scent do I currently have in my, I can't even remember, but I've had it going for a couple of months now, I think, and it's still all the way up here because you have to use so little of it. So I do enjoy these. They have a scent for pretty much every person. And even if I did not have a backlog of these body washes, I would probably end up repurchasing them. I think I would repurchase the pink champagne one out of all of the ones because that's just my favorite EOS scent of all time. It just is so fresh and fruity and it smells so good. I also finished a Touchland Gentle Mist hand sanitizer. This is the Lily of the Valley scent, and this one is a very fresh, powdery floral scent. I do like the Touchland hand sanitizers. I like the spray experience. I know they are expensive. It feels a little gimmicky, especially when you can just get a little thing of Purell for like $1 or $2, if that. But again, I believe we deserve nice things in this life. We deserve things that give us sensory joy, and this is something that gives me sensory joy. I do feel like for some people, and I think they have an unscented version of their hand sanitizers, but for some people it is going to be a little bit more fragrant than maybe what they would like. It definitely smells a little bit like your hands are perfumed when you add this on, so that might not be for everyone. But once I finish the, what do you call the hand sanitizer that I currently have, which is actually I think a bottle of Purell or Germex or something like that, because I did have one on hand. One of my pet sitting clients actually gave me a goodie bag for Christmas and included some hand sanitizer in it, so I've just been trying to use up what I have versus buying something else. But I definitely would repurchase these because, again, similar to the way deodorants, I do feel like if it's something that brings me joy, if I like the sensory experience of it, I am going to buy it no matter the cost, because everything's expensive. You might as well spend your money on things that you actually enjoy using and that you like, again, the sensory experience of. Moving into skincare, I've finished 4 skincare products, which I feel like is kind of a lot for me. But the first one is the Coco Kind Ceramide Barrier Serum. This is unfortunately the small size of it, or the regular size. The jumbo size has been out of stock on the Coco Kind website as well as at every Ulta near me for literal months, and I hate that because this version or this size only lasts me about a month. I just run through it like water because I do use it so often. I really like it. It's hydrating, but it also has a little bit of lactic acid for exfoliation, and especially right now with my apartment having mold and stuff like that, I actually feel like some of the issues I've had with my skin breaking out have been because my apartment has mold and I did not know it. I do, however, feel when I reincorporated this into my skincare routine that it helped. Like, I still definitely have breakouts going on. There's some cropping up near my glasses and everything, but I do feel like it was helping improve the look of my skin. I feel like my skin has more of that lit from within glow when I have this in my skincare routine. So I'm probably just gonna have to hunker down and buy another one of the 1 fluid ounce size instead of the Big Daddy size. But hey, maybe we can put out into the universe that when I go to Ulta, maybe today I'll go to Ulta, that they will have the jumbo size in stock for me. Then there's the Inkyless Exosome Hydro Glow Complex, which is what I was using when my Ulta was out of stock of all of the sizes of this and I couldn't get my hands on it. And this is a product that I do like, but I feel like for the price, it just doesn't do as much for my skin. For me, I feel like it mainly makes my skin feel more moisturized and maybe more plump, but I just don't get that same lit from within glow with this. Like, again, I do have a nice plumpness, moisturization, or hydration rather, going on, but I just feel as though the Cocoa Kind serum makes me a little bit more radiant with my skin. So while I like this, it's a good stand-in for when I don't have this available. I don't feel like it's going to be my go-to. Again, it's kind of the stand-in for me when I don't have my favorite serum available. Next, we have the Peach Slices Snail Rescue All-in-One Deep Moisture Cream. And honestly, for this being called a deep moisture cream, I didn't feel like it was particularly deeply moisturizing. It just kind of felt like a generic, well, not even generic, but you know, just a general lotion consistency. It wasn't particularly, like I said, like thick or anything like that. So it could be a good option for people who need a little bit more moisturization, but maybe don't want something that feels super heavy, especially given that I was using this during the bulk of the fall and winter, like the colder months, and my skin is typically a little bit drier in those months. Like I said, I just didn't feel like it did the most for me. I felt like I sometimes had to go in with multiple layers of this to get my skin to the moisturization level of it not feeling tight, especially because the cleanser that I currently have is a little bit stripping to the skin. I might feel differently if I had a different cleanser in my routine, but again, I'm just trying to finish up what I have versus buying other things and trashing them. And you know, it's not that big a deal for my skin to feel a little bit dry and stripped if I'm able to add some moisture and glow back with other products. So again, don't know if I would repurchase this. For me, it might be good or better, I would say, for the spring and summer months, but I just don't feel like it's as deeply moisturizing as its name suggests. Lastly, I have another one of the Inkyless Polyglutamic Dewy Sunscreen. I think this is my third bottle of this, either my second or third bottle that I've had. I know they sent me one, and then I also have purchased one. So yeah, I think this is my third bottle now, because I feel like I've purchased two of them at this point. Anywho, I do like this sunscreen. My biggest gripe with it is that it maybe has a little bit of not a particularly chemical-y smell, but it just has a little bit of a scent to it. It doesn't smell completely like nothing, but it also doesn't have, again, that super chemical sunscreen smell. But honestly, for me, it's not that big of a deal because I do like the overall consistency of the sunscreen. I feel like it is moisturizing without being too slick and making me look oily. I just have like a nice luminous glow. And of course, with me, again, having my job be mostly outside these days, it helps me not develop sunburn and hopefully not develop skin cancer. So I am trying something else out currently because I want to try something else. Again, I've used this one over, I think, the course of the last year is how long I've had each of them, but I definitely would repurchase this and probably at some point will repurchase it once I'm done with my experimentation era. Okie dokie, and moving into makeup, this, if you have seen my single eyeshadow declutter video, these aren't going to be very new for you, so I will go through them rapid fire, but I am going ahead and getting rid of this Grace Shimmer and Glow liquid eyeshadow from Stila. It's dried out, and I've said before that the wand is even dried up because I put some Inglot Duraline in here to try to get the rest out or revive it, and it does make the doe foot shrivel up. And overall, I just feel like I have other eyeshadows in a very similar color, and I just don't feel the need to hold on to this any longer, especially if I'm not going to get much use out of it because it's so laborious to use. Based on where the product is settling, I used probably a good 3/4 of it. Some of it is, you know, stuck to the sides, but I did use a good 3/4 of it, and I think that's sufficient for me personally. Then I have these Kosas 10-second eyeshadows. They had neutral shades, which I think they've mostly bought back the neutral shades that they had, but they also had some cool, like, colorful shades, and I wish they would bring these back instead of being the same beige, boring brand that every other brand is becoming at this point. However, the biggest issue with Kosas products is that they don't really use preservatives. They're that whole clean beauty thing, which clean beauty is an unregulated term. It could literally mean anything. The definition changes from brand to brand. So I don't put too much stock in a brand being clean beauty specifically. I just use what I like. They did send me these quite a while ago, but these go rancid. Their products go rancid. They smell bad. There's actually, there's multiple of these where I think the doe foot disconnected. Yeah, like the doe foot disconnects from the rest of the product. And while I liked them while I used them, they are a little bit of a thinner consistency. So I felt like you could build it up or shear it out. They had some nice shimmer and shine. And again, they were nice, but they just smell funky, and they start smelling funky really fast. So I am getting rid of all of these. Again, if you want to see the full declutter, you can definitely check out that on, what is that called? The other video, the declutter series. But that is that. Not a big fan of the smell. I don't know if they've changed the formula at all when they re-released some of the shades, because I do think they revamped the line, but I don't think I would repurchase them. There's not only enough eyeshadow in my collection to last me multiple lifetimes, but for what they were, like, they were nice, but I don't feel like they were particularly outstanding. A liquid eyeshadow that I'm very sad to be getting rid of, that I do feel had an outstanding formula, especially as far as it being that impactful shine, was the Flower Beauty RIP. And that's what's so disappointing, is Flower Beauty doesn't exist anymore. But the Flower Beauty Warrior Glitter Eyeshadow, this was the shade Flame, and it is that beautiful copper with a whole bunch of gold and even kind of like a golden green shimmer. This one I probably would have kept because it does not smell bad. There's like no smell on this at all, but the doe foot fell off into the product. And I know some people are going to be like, oh, just use another brush or da da da. If the doe foot is falling off in the product, it's time to get rid of it. I understand that with project panning, we're trying to get as much out of our products as possible, but I am going to give you the permission, especially as someone who has OCD, especially around morality and feeling like, oh, this is also wasteful, it's going in the landfill and all of that stuff. I am giving you the permission to throw out things that can no longer function without putting a whole bunch of extra effort in. If you want to put that effort in, that's fine, but I am giving you permission to throw out things that no longer serve you, okay? It's okay if you don't get to finish something. It's okay. You can throw it out. You got your use out of it. I used the crap out of this back in like 2016 to 2019, pre-COVID, beating our face to the gods every single day era. I got my use out of this. I don't need to keep it around just to try to finish it, because that is such a perfectionist or completionist and kind of defeatist mindset to feel like you didn't get your use out of it if you don't finish something. It's okay for something to come into your life, run its course, enjoy it while you have it, and then once it no longer serves you anymore, to get rid of it. So now that that spiel is over, I loved the Warrior Glitter eyeshadows, but they are obviously not available anymore, so the review on them is kind of moot at this point. Then we've got two lip products. One is an empty and one is not an empty. I'll let you take a second to guess which one is the empty. 1, 2, 3. The empty one is actually the lip liner, and I'm not sure that I've ever actually finished up a lip liner completely, but this is the Milani Understatement lip liner in the shade Rich Cocoa. I love this shade down. In pretty much all of my makeup videos, especially in the last few years, I feel like this was the lip liner that I was using. It is just like a deeper brown for my skin tone, more of a neutral brown on my skin, and I wore it with red lips choice if I wanted to kind of blend a red lip more into my skin tone versus using a burgundy lip liner or something that pulls a little bit more purplish. I use this, of course, with my neutral lipsticks and my deep brown, like fall lip colors. This was just a universal color for me personally, and I did buy something different because I wanted to try something different, but I could for sure see myself repurchasing this. I know people have their gripes with Milani. I have had my gripes with Milani over them making light of the Amber Heard trial. That's the main reason people have gripes with Milani. I don't agree, as someone who has been personally affected by domestic violence in their life. I don't agree with poking fun at a potential victim of domestic violence, especially in a highly publicized trial. I felt like that was weirdo behavior. So that's part of the reason why I wanted to maybe try something else. If I'm going to be completely honest, I'm not a perfect person. I'm, again, not the most moral person. No one has a moral high ground over anyone else. I could, again, see myself repurchasing that because I liked that shade so much and it was so universal for my skin tone. But I think it says something about my mindset that I am going to try to find other alternatives, other shades that may work similarly, to see, is this actually a lip liner that I need in my life, or are there other things that can fill that void? The one that is not an empty, but honestly I feel like comes as close to an empty as you can with certain things, is the Tarte Maracuja Juicy Lip. This was the shade Coconut. The little sticker is off, and the issue with this is that I had it in my purse. It was kind of my purse lipstick. I did use up a lot of it, and I've kind of talked about other ones to compare. You can see the color all the way going into the bottom of this tube versus here you can see where the product has been clicked up a lot. So I do think I got a lot of use out of this, and I would call it an almost empty. But I had this in my purse. I was at an event that was outside and I dropped the cap of it, and I used some water because I didn't have a napkin or anything to wipe it off. I used some water to just try to get the dirt off of the cap, and then I forgot about it, which means that it started molding. And when I pulled it out to use it, I first smelled that it was like funky and kind of mildewy smelling, and then I noticed the white fuzzies on the top of it, and I was like, okay, this is definitely not usable anymore. So this is finished. Would I repurchase this? Absolutely not. Tarte is not a brand that is on my radar to really purchase from. Even purchasing these, given their history, was a lapse in judgment because I was just like, I'm seeing them be super viral and everyone has them, and I want to see if they're better than other products. I just feel like while they give nice color to the lips and nice shine, I do feel like there's something about these that gathers all of the dead lip tissue flakes of my lips, and it like gathers them in this, area of my mouth, and it just isn't always the most flattering, especially with reapplication. So I am trying to finish the other shades of these. I'm going to actually reapply this one in Hibiscus to get some more use out of it, but I am trying to finish up the ones that I have so that I don't have to have these anymore. Even just rubbing my lips together right now, I can feel all of the dead lip skin coming up, and it's just not my favorite. Like, there are other glossy lip, shiny lip products that don't do that, Oh, I actually have another product. I decided that this is an empty for me today, and again, it's Flower Beauty, RIP to a real one, but this is their Light Illusion Full Coverage Concealer in the shade D2-3 Deep. I absolutely loved this concealer down, and I took the stopper out and everything, and honestly I would say I got a decent amount of use out of it. This would have been an empty by any other standards if I didn't take the stopper out and didn't have that OCD like perfectionist mindset. However, I used it today and I did not like the way that it sat on my skin, and I figured, okay, if this used to sit so nicely on my skin and now it's not sitting as nicely and I haven't really changed much about my skin routine, then it's probably just time to let this go. Like I said, it's been used down to the bottom, down to pulling out the stopper and everything, and again, I'm giving all of y'all permission that when you take the stopper out and you use something down to the bone, or you use something and you realize it's not sitting as nicely, the consistency has maybe changed on it, the smell has changed, whatever the case may be. The smell hasn't really changed on this at all, and the consistency hasn't changed such that it was getting thicker or anything like that, but I just noticed it sitting very differently and separating on the skin and just not looking as flawless as it had been. So I decided to put her to rest. So I hate that it's gone because that was such a nice concealer. It was, I would say it was like a medium buildable coverage. You could definitely get a lot of coverage out of it, but it didn't feel so thick and heavy on the skin. It definitely had a nice thin consistency. It didn't crease super badly underneath my eyes. Like, it literally just creased in the areas that I have natural creases, because I do have more natural creases in my under eyes. Again, loved that concealer down, and I'm sad to see her go. I'm sad that Flower Beauty is no longer. That was definitely one of the losses in the beauty community recently that has hit me hard. Lastly, we have all of my fragrance empties from the past few months. So the sample I have finished is Ariel Shoshana Sunday. And admittedly, when I first tried this, they did send me their discovery set of this along with a full size of Sunday actually. When I first tried it, I wasn't sure about it because I felt like it was one of those milky matcha latte fragrances where the milk almost leaned a little bit like, I don't want to say spoiled, but sometimes fragrances that have a milk note, if it's not one of those like creamy vanillic types and it really is leaning more into trying to smell like milk, it can smell a little bit spoiled, especially when I applied it to my skin. So when I first tried it, again, I was a little bit like, I don't know if this is the one for me, but I did really like the matcha aspect of it because it had a little bit of an earthiness, a little bit of a floralness the way that matcha powder would. And there's even like this roasted kind of smell. But the longer that I had this, the longer that I tried it out, and even as I used my sample up more and more, I started smelling more of the roastedness, and that spoiled milk or slightly sour milk scent started fading into the background for me. And that's maintained even when I've gone back to use the full size of it that I have. I definitely am getting more of the facets of this perfume that I enjoy than the ones that were kind of making me feel a little bit iffy on it. So I'm glad I gave it more of a chance, and that is just a testament to sometimes your nose changes, maybe the fragrance is aging as well, and it's kind of deepening or the scent's changing a little bit the longer that you have it. But you can't always discount a fragrance off of the first time you try it, because again, the first time I tried it, wasn't a fan, wasn't feeling it, and now I really like this, and I'm really happy that I have the full size that they sent me as well. So again, give your fragrances a little bit more of a try than just once or twice. Take a break from it, come back to it, try it in different environments. You never know what your nose will end up developing from it. Then I have 4 travel sizes because I've been trying my hardest to finish up the perfumes that I have like 1 or 2 sprays or applications of. So one of my most compliment getting perfumes that honestly, I don't know if I would repurchase at this point. I do like it, but I feel like I have other Pear fragrances that I enjoy more. This is Pear Inc. or Pear Incorporated. Honestly, one of my pet peeves is that everyone pronounces it as Pear Inc. because ink is incorporated. But either way, that's just like a little kind of stupid pet peeve for me, but it's Juliet Has a Gun Pear Incorporated, and this is a nice fresh kind of shampooy soapy pear, but the musky aspects of this does lean almost a little bit vintage to me, which I don't necessarily dislike, but again, I just have other pear scents that are kind of these soapy, clean, fresh pears that I like more. Like one in particular I love is Pear Skin from Super Sweet. I can't stop wearing that one. I can't stop talking about it. So this is one that is not super high on my repurchase list. However, every single time I wore this, I did get a compliment on it. So again, sometimes a product just smells good to other people. A lot of the time, these fresh, clean smelling fragrances, as much as people like to bash them for being boring, they're the sense that when you walk past other people, they're just kind of like, oh, she smells good. I've always been a freshy, clean scent girl though, so maybe my view is biased. But again, the fact is that every single time I wore this, I did get a compliment on it, even from people that I didn't know. Like, people in my real life know I'm the perfume girl, so they often do compliment me on my perfume because they can smell it. People just passing by me in a store or on the street or what at an event, they always complimented this one. So if you do want to compliment getting perfume, I do recommend it. That's not the only reason, or honestly a primary reason, that I wear perfume. But again, it could be one if that is your primary reason for wearing perfume, which it shouldn't be, but I can't tell other people how to live their life. If you want to compliment getting perfume, that one definitely gets compliments. Another pair forward scent that I actually like more than Pear Incorporated is by Rosie Jane Layla Lou, and it's because this one is a very unique pear scent. It is like fresh cut pears and fresh cut grass. There is definitely a very green, grassy vibe to this one. And while that might not be everyone's jam, I know not everyone wants to smell like grass or like the outdoors, it's definitely my jam. I absolutely love that. So I do already have a full size of this one. Admittedly, I don't get as many compliments when I wear this one as when I have worn something like Pear Incorporated, but I prefer this one because I like that it's a little bit more unique. And just in general, it gives me a lot of good memories to playing softball, you know, having my little snacks, different fruits, specifically pears because I did like pears, but having fruits and snacks and stuff, and then grass stains on my shorts or my uniform, you know what I'm saying? I actually wore pants most of my softball career, but again, it kind of had that being out on the softball field bright and early at 8 a.m. type of feeling to it. So this is one that I quite enjoy for the nostalgia. And like I said, I am very thankful that they have sent me a full size of this so that I can continue enjoying that. The next one I have is Skylar Boardwalk Delight, and this is a very well-loved fragrance in the fragrance community. I've spoken multiple times before on how I personally don't purchase from Skylar anymore. I feel like a lot of people in the perfume community have forgotten their post on October 7th of 2024, basically showing their support of a certain genocidal state. So I stopped purchasing from them and I haven't started repurchasing. I'm trying to finish what I have from them, and then I will, if I really feel beholden to have a perfume from them, I'll buy it off the gray market. And it's really sad because this was one of my favorite perfumes. It is like a cotton candy fluffy perfume with some fruity aspects as well. There's also an underlying almost like fresh cleanliness. There's some coconut milk, so it smells a little creamy. It's definitely a fragrance that hits a lot of different categories and smells good for all of the different categories that it smells like. Again, those creamy facets, those clean facets. I have a full size of this that they sent me back when I was on their PR list, so I'll continue to use that. It's another one that gets a lot of compliments if that's something you're going for, but I just personally will not be supporting them anymore. So I'm, like I said, trying to get my Skylar fragrances or finish as many of them as I can, and the ones that I don't want to finish, I will again sell on Mercari or give away to friends or something like that. The last fragrance we have here is a discontinued fave, and if MixBar, again, I don't know if they care about these, if they will ever see this, but if they do, please bring Tangerine Squeeze back. Like, what do we have to do? Number one, I love these fragrance gel pens. When MixBar first came out, their travel sizes were in this gel formula that you use a click pen. And obviously the downside to that is that you can't really tell when you're finishing the product until you hear that final kind of click and you're just like, oh, there's nothing more coming out. the click is just like clicking really hard, so you know there's nothing left in it. But I just found this formula to be very innovative. It wasn't as drying or irritating as an alcohol-based perfume can be, so I was able to use it even when I was having eczema flare-ups, which I've been having some eczema flare-ups currently, but this was something that I could apply perfume on or near those areas. I wouldn't apply them on top of the eczema, obviously, but I could apply it on my wrist if I was having eczema flare-ups and not have to worry about, oh, the alcohol is about to really sting the fuck out of my arm or hand or elbow, wherever it is. You also don't have to worry as much about it breaking if you have it in your purse or are traveling with it. It's a pretty sturdy plastic case. So again, I don't know why they got rid of this formula. I think they should bring it back, and it sets them apart from what every other fragrance travel size is doing. But then there's the fact that this is just the most beautiful, the most gorgeous, fresh, citrusy, like it smells like slicing tangerines or oranges, and again, squeezing them out, juicing them. There's even like an underlying greenness. It's not quite grassy like Layla Lou from By Rosie Jane, but there's definitely just that hint of greenery in the background of it. And again, I want this one back so bad. I do have other fragrances that kind of fill in the void, but a lot of the time they're a little bit more sweeter versus having that really fresh citrusy smell. And this one just smells so fresh, so citrusy. It is wonderful. And honestly, it's one where if I can find it at a TJ Maxx or Marshall's, I would probably pick it up. Maybe not immediately. Well, that's the thing about TJ Maxx and Marshalls. It's like, if you don't pick it up now, is it still going to be there? Are you ever going to find another one? I actually have seen this in TJ Maxx and Marshalls before and didn't pick it up because I was like, I still have the fragrance pen. And then I ran out of the fragrance pen. So we're kind of SOL right now. But again, I absolutely love that scent. If you want a fresh citrus orange scent, nothing else, maybe a little bit of greenness, but again, even citrus trees would smell a little bit green, you know what I'm saying? But if you want something like that and you find that fragrance, just know that I am jealous of you in the best way. As I often do, I forgot something. So very quickly, I had one of my most exciting empties. This is the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer in the shade Endless Summer. It was in my project pan literally since 2023, and I finally, or actually before that, I think since 2022, and I finally finished it up. I would not repurchase because Physicians Formula doesn't really make shades for my skin tone. Like, I think they still have Endless Summer, but in general, when a brand does not make products that fit my skin tone or even deeper than me, and they're not inclusive with their shade range, I kind of stray away from them. So I'm trying to finish up what I have. I think this might have been the last Physicians Formula product that I have, so I don't have to worry about it anymore. And there are just plenty of bronzers in the sea of makeup products that can be used. It was a nice formula. It had a nice little smell to it as well. That was one of my favorite things about it as well, because I don't mind scented beauty products, but the packaging, not the greatest, broke, had to secure it with tape. And again, I wouldn't repurchase this. But anyway, back to the regularly scheduled rest of the video, because this will just be spliced in with the end of the beauty products. Anyway, I know that was a monster of a video, as my empties videos often are, but I hope you enjoyed seeing what's been in my trash and us talking about what I would repurchase, what I wouldn't repurchase, and all of that jazz. And overall, I hope you're having a good time and that you're staying safe and healthy wherever you are when you're watching this. But I'm not going to take up too much more of your time today, at least. And I hope you have a great day, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.